Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's episode is another Top 5 Tuesdays. This is a series that I'm doing in collaboration with the glam Dr. Mona Khan. I'm going to link down to her YouTube channel down below in my description box. I will also link to her video for this week. And we decided to go with foundations. So I had to pick my top 5 favorite liquid foundation. And this actually wasn't that hard for me to pick. I pretty much have 5 foundations that I kind of rotate between, that I love, that I just go to. So if you're interested in hearing what my top 5 foundations are, then just keep on watching. So just to let you know, I won't be doing any swatches for this video because I was doing them and they kind of just all like end up kind of looking the same on the hand. Like there's really nothing to show you, and it's like skin tone. We're just going to be talking. I'm just going to be showing you the actual foundation in its packaging. And these are in no particular order. I love them all. Let me start with the foundation that I've been using the longest, and that would be the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. I have it in the shade 4. I love this foundation because I do have very dry skin. I've always had dry skin, and this gives me a very luminous, natural sort of glow to my skin. I feel like the coverage starts out as like a light medium, and then it very quickly can build to a medium, and it doesn't feel cakey, it doesn't feel heavy. But this foundation definitely is one that I feel like I have to set it down with a powder, and not because it's so luminous, but because it's like, it doesn't dry down completely. It's very, very tacky, at least for me. It stays very, very tacky. And I've heard, you know, people with oilier skin types, they love this foundation too. So I think this can work for most skin types. So that's my first pick, the Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. My second pick is the Koh Gen Do Aqua Foundation. You guys have seen me use this plenty of times in my videos. I have the shade 123. And I think what I like the most about this foundation is because it's a water-based foundation, it comes out fairly thin, but you're kind of surprised at how much coverage you get. You know, it's called Aqua Foundation, so I kind of always assumed that it was like just a very light coverage, but it's definitely like a light to medium if you want to kind of keep applying it. And I just love it too. It says on the bottom, no artificial colors, fragrance, petroleum-based mineral oil, paraben, or alcohol. So it is just a very sort of clean feeling and looking foundation. I wouldn't say it's as luminous as the Armani foundation, but it definitely has sort of like a nice satin, natural sort of glow to it. It's very nice. It's so comfortable to wear. It's really great. My next pick is the Tom Ford Traceless Perfecting Foundation, and I have it in the shade 02 Ivory. And this actually has an SPF of 15 in it, which is really, really great. The other 2 foundations that I just mentioned had no SPF in there, so that's an added benefit to this one. The consistency of this one is definitely thicker than the Aqua Foundation, the Koh Gen Do that I just mentioned, but it's far from thick. It just has sort of like a lotiony feel. You know how some foundations, sometimes I feel like they take a while to dry down, and you know, as you're spreading it on your skin, it feels like it's just sort of like you're streaking it around, or there are foundations that set too quickly, and you know, while you're working it in, it's like, oh my god, like you can't move it around anymore. This I feel like has like the perfect timing. It just, as you're working it in, it sets down as you're doing it. And you know, I like to use a brush, not a sponge, but a brush when I apply my foundation, and it's almost like you can kind of see the brush strokes disappear as you're working it in. So I just love this. Again, it is like a light to medium coverage. It is buildable. The SPF is a great addition, and it has a very natural finish. It definitely is less luminous than either of the 2 that I just talked about. It's actually what I have on my face today, so you can probably get a good idea of what it looks like down here, you know, where I kind of don't have any additional product. Or on my forehead, I have maybe a little bit of bronzer up there, but that's about it. So this has less of a radiant finish. It just gives your skin a skin-like appearance. That sounds ridiculous, but you know what I'm saying. It's just a very skin-like appearance. So that is the Tom Ford Traceless Perfecting Foundation. And then next I have the Surratt Beauty Surreal Skin Foundation wand. I use 2 shades, 3 and 4. My forehead is considerably darker than the rest of my face, so I used 4 around here and 3 around like my jawline and around my mouth, and then I just mix it in. This foundation has the most amazing to me, the most amazing sort of blurring effect. It kind of like, it seems to kind of like float over your skin. It seems to be sort of like suspended over your skin, but in a really amazing way. Not like it doesn't sink in, and not like, you know, it moves around, but just sort of like its appearance. It's almost, yeah, it's just this like really awesome, yeah, like suspended application. It's just the absolute coolest like formula. The foundation wand comes with this built-in brush, and so the foundation comes out of here. You know, there's pros and cons to that. I know a lot of people hate that. It gets pretty grubby. I just use like a spray brush cleaner. I spray it on like a paper towel, and then I'll rub this into it before I dispense the foundation and use it. While it's probably not my favorite, I don't mind it so much because I take this when I travel. And so when I travel, it's awesome to not have to think about a foundation brush, because those are pretty big. And the good thing about this brush is that it's actually a pretty good brush. You know, it's very soft. It's kind of like kabuki style, which is what I generally use for foundations. But this foundation is more of like, I want to say, again, I want to say it's a light medium, definitely kind of leaning more towards medium. It is buildable. And the finish, it's much like the Tom Ford. It's not very radiant like the Koh Gen Do or the Giorgio Armani one. It has a very natural skin finish, but it really kind of does this amazing kind of like blurring effect. It takes a while for you to see it too. You can put it on your skin, you're like, okay, you know, foundation or whatever, and then I don't know, and then all of a sudden, you know, you kind of like figure out what else you're going to put in your face, and the next moment you look in the mirror, and then all of a sudden it just sort of, again, it just sort of seems like it's kind of blurring your skin. I don't know, that's the experience I've had with it. I think it's awesome. And last but not least, I have the La Mer Soft Fluid Long Wear Foundation. It has SPF 20. So this and Tom Ford's are the only two that I've mentioned that have SPF in there. It has a pump. Oh, I actually didn't show you the other foundations. They all have pumps. The only other one is this Tom Ford. It has like a turn-up pump. So the La Mer foundation. So this one is the most expensive out of all of these. Well, that's not true. I think the Surratt Beauty actually ends up being more expensive. So there's only 0.5 ounces in each wand. And the rest of these all come with 1 ounce. So anyway, this is, I believe, $110 per bottle. I'll put all the information down below. I love this foundation. This definitely has a higher coverage than any of the other ones that I've talked about. This is a solid medium, definitely buildable to like a medium full. It has a slightly radiant finish to it. It's not, there are like no particles or anything in here. And it's far from looking oily, but it definitely gives you a bit of radiance. Probably not as much as the Luminous Silk. Once it kind of settles down a little bit as the day goes on, it looks a little bit less radiant if you have dry skin. If you have oily skin, I bet your oils will kind of activate it. But on me, it kind of settles down and doesn't look quite as radiant a few hours in. I love the finish. The only downside to this one is that it smells a little weird. It doesn't smell bad. It just smells very, to me, it just smells very, very organic, and I don't know what that would be. But I love the finish. I love that it has SPF 20 in there. I have the shade Neutral 22, which is like a perfect match for me. This is the one that I pull out if I feel like I need like a fuller coverage, if I'm doing like a full glam look. This is the one that I'll pull out. So those are my top 5 foundations. If you have skin similar to mine, which is dry and sensitive, I highly recommend any of these. None of these irritate my skin in any way. I have definitely worn all of these like all day, like one of those 12, 14-hour days. I definitely have worn all of these. I've worn, I believe, all of these on flights as well, which is not my favorite thing to do, but sometimes you have to. And yeah, and they're great. They never irritate my skin. They don't dry out my skin. They leave my skin looking very healthy and very natural. I just love them. I love them all. I really do. So let me know down in the description box if you have any questions about any of these foundations. Let me know what your favorites are. I would love to hear your suggestions. I feel like it's really hard to find good base products that you really love, like foundation, powder, concealer. I think those are tough. So yeah, so I'm glad that I have these 5 in my repertoire. They're, like I said, my absolute favorite, and this was not a hard video. Don't forget to check out Mona's channel. Again, I will link that down below. I can't wait to see what her picks are. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. Please subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and I will see you in my next video.